Hello, this is George Sandman. I'm the founder and CEO of Growth Drive. And Growth Drive is a system used by business advisors to drive client profits, growth, and value. Now, we're also a community. Every week we get together to talk about all things business advisor, everything clients, cases, things we're seeing out in the world. Now, tune in here to this podcast, and you can join the conversation by scanning this QR code, passcode 867-5309. Jump into the conversation. Everyone's welcome. We're looking forward to having you. So here we go. On with the show.
Hey, George, did that email come through?
I'm sorry, I've been out with my engineers. Maybe if you sent it, I'm sure it came through.
Just making sure. All right, good. So how come Milwaukee doesn't have those things that Joseph was talking about?
I don't know.
Well, as I used to tell my my wife's grandmother, we get they roll into town with the carriages and the horses once a week with all the deliveries that we get, and we haul them all to our teepees, and
The Pony Express.
Pony Express comes in once a week and we get our deliveries, right? And so like marshals are around, but
You need to talk about your answers.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, hang in there. You'll get canned foods one day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Kurt, is this your first coffee Klatsch?
It is, yes.
Guys,
Welcome,
Kurt Murphy. Kurt, welcome. It's great to see you. And hey, Joe, how are you, man?
Good morning.
And hey, Kurt, since no one here, I know you. Mike knows you. Well, Mike doesn't count. But if it's okay with you, can you take just a few seconds and introduce yourself? And you know what I always ask them, why clients hire you?
That's fair. Well, I'm kind of new into this space, right? So I connected through Mike, who introduced me to George. And I'm full blown. I think I'm on 15th module in the G3D process, cruising through capacity. So it's good stuff. I connected with Tim, who George introduced me to as well. So Tim gave me some great insight. Quick snapshot on me. I'm a financial guy by training, CPA, Pricewaterhouse Roots. 2019, I was selected by a recruiter to go work for a wealth management group. We did some additional acquisitions. We rolled it up and sold it, exited in 21. Since early 23, I've been doing mostly EOS fractional integrator work, and now I'm trying to figure out how to leverage exit planning into that service offering.
Awesome. Welcome.
Where are you located?
Michigan.
People hire him because he's wicked smart.
Wicked smart. True, by the way.
Transplant.
Yeah, Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit.
A great town. Detroit is back, people. I'm not talking about industry. If you haven't been there, if you've been resisting going, go for the weekend, right? Kurt, I'm
Just go to the DNC. Go and stay at the DAC.
Yes. Anybody wants to come visit DAC, I'm a member. Cigars on the rooftop for sure.
there we go.
I want to see a Tigers game from that upstairs bar where you can smoke. That's what I want to see.
Kurt, you're out in my neck of the world. A good solid Midwesterner like Joe and Ed and me.
Where are you at?
I'm Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, gotcha.
It's the Detroit of Wisconsin.
It is. Yeah.
So
We're both in the southeastern corner of the state. We're both the largest city in the state. And there's some similarities there.
Work gets done in the Midwest.
And thank God we're not Ohio State. Thank God we're not Ohio State.
there we go.
Joe,
See that, Joe. So, well, welcome, Kurt. It's great to have you. And
the winner.
And in fact, Kurt has introduced one of his colleagues, who's fantastic. You and I haven't had a chance to debrief. She is fantastic. So thank you. A lot of things going on. What's on everyone's mind? Rick looks very pensive this morning. Rick,
I'll stay that way for a minute.
okay, shut up, George. I haven't had enough coffee.
I have two things, George.
Please.
Can't wait to see you. I have a client who's looking for an assessment that evaluates the ability to persuade or influence. Does anybody have any recommendations off the top of your head on
The
on that.
ability
There's
to
an instrument
persuade-
you've used. Yeah, like a disc or something that would
For like
so
a salesperson or a BD, you
it could, it isn't a sales role. It's actually a lead coach or a training role. But for my priority for them, like the number one trait this individual has to have, besides being a subject matter expert and knowing how to educate, is you have to be persuasive and influence.
I got somebody. It's Tim O'Connor with Culture Index, and he's working with big firms. Big firms. He works with my buddy John LeDoyen with UBS down in Atlanta, but he's got a national practice.
Yeah. Culture Index Culture Index and Predictive Index are very similar. Actually, they split off a while ago. They're both very good tools. Tim, if you want somebody who will do something custom, I have an industrial psychologist who will actually interview them, and he has, the whole set of tools. He can use a off-the-shelf tool. He can design something custom. So,
Okay.
And Larry, is this not up your alley?
Not exactly these.
Okay.
So no, but
I don't want you to be self-effacing here. I
appreciate it. I appreciate it, George. This is unique. You're looking for measurement of one's ability to persuade.
yeah.
Yeah, just a bit more context. So this is for a STEM training operation, works with youth from K to P, and your ability to get these kids jacked up and persuade them to pursue a career in STEM, no matter what, is to me is the top attribute of a quality coach.
All the tools, a culture index, predictive index, a good disc will help to some extent, but I do believe there's specific tools for persuasion.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And
if any of you come across those later on, I don't want to hold up the conversation now, but just shoot them to me. That'd be great.
Another one would be talk to TM Dickinson about OMG, as in oh my God, but it's not oh my God, it's the I can't remember. But OMG
does sales assessments, and they're a national.
I know they've
got some
out.
tools.
Yeah.
Again, they've got their own proprietary tools, like a culture index kind of thing.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah, I just sat down with Greg Kostyuk down in Houston, and he's part of the same sales organization as TM, and evidently OMG has expanded. So that's a fantastic.
By the way, wouldn't be a bad module to include in the C3D, or at least something relevant to that, because like our ability to convince or persuade people to do the right thing, I would think would be relevant to our success.
I think we need a tool in there, George, to see how much we're like Mike Garrison. Also,
I was pointing at Garrison. That's where you are.
Or maybe how much not like Mike Garrison. Yeah.
First of all, the only thing that you want to have similar to me is my deal flow and my profitability.
And you're
which true, by the way,
which is not equaled by everyone on this call.
I didn't hear in that list your good looks or your.
That's correct. That's correct.
Some things are just unattainable, right?
So don't ever hire me. Just find somebody else who could produce.
All right.
Tim, I came in on the end here, but trying to use anything related to sales and stuff with somebody who's going to, in a sense, be a minister to teenagers, I don't think it's going to work. Yeah. And so maybe talk with, youth ministers or teachers and things like that to find out what would make sense to find somebody who's going to be, in your terms, jack them up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Youth minister is a good idea. Yeah, man.
Can I throw out thing two, George?
Thing two, Tim. And Tim, I'm looking forward to seeing you. Is that next week after?
That's thing two.
Look into retired Pentecostal ministers, Harvest Ministries. That's where you go, right there.
Harvest Ministry.
And Tim, while you're writing that down, back to your comment,
the man
George.
had started a comment. Go ahead.
Back to your comment, George. I think this stuff is tangential to what Larry does and leadership that that a number of us do, and it's good. This would be a good topic for a whole thing, for a whole coffee Klatsch. Yeah. What are the tools that we use around leadership and the softer skills, not just the tools that we use around the harder skills, like financial analysis and clarity in some of the other things.
Yeah, and we're not going to wait until the summit, but that might be a good topic. Let's just put that on the list of things
Yeah,
we could do at the summit.
absolutely.
Hey,
Larry.
Okay.
All right, Tim. Number two.
Two, we have our first marketing event coming up March 25th, and we're flying George up to present to. Right now, we got 12 committed, 4 more in the pipeline. Our goal is to have at least 14 show up. And my question is, does anybody have experience or advice to prepare participants for a marketing event? To either engage or nurture those people before or after they're there. So we've got, 3+ weeks right now, we've got 4 weeks basically, with a dozen people going on, a few more that have said yes, they want to be there. I don't want to let them sit in isolation. We'll clearly send them reminders about the meeting. But any thoughts about how to warm them up and then convert them?
Two weeks
Tell
of
us about
beatings
who
with a
the
stick.
audience is.
Yeah.
Tell us who the audience is and what your goal is by the end of the
Thanks.
the workshop.
So the people that have said yes so far are about 50-50. Half of them would be business owners who could engage us, and the other half are COIs who could not only be a reliable referral source for us going forward, they have entire books of business that are nothing but business owners, and so they could be a steady stream of our ideal prospects going forward for referrals, and they could also host future marketing events. Our goal is to do at least one marketing event a quarter, maybe one every 2 months. So we want to take advantage of Georgia's presence here to just impress the crap out of these COIs, let them see the growth drive process and want to do business with us going forward. And
What's
what
the
was the other
title?
part of your question?
What's the title?
I don't know if we have a title. Hang on a second.
Gotta have
I
a
should know this right
title
now.
because you have to
Now
have
I'm
something
embarrassed.
that excites them and draws them to have an interest in being there. You've got to have something that is a grabber for everybody.
Yeah, we've got, give me a second. You two of you.
Title is TBD.
I could tell you what we put in the invitation.
And the invitation was solid. Yeah.
It's the Business Owners Workshop, proven moves for making your business more profitable, more valuable, and easier to run.
Yeah. That's a title. Excellent.
So you want each to come not as a warm up there, but having come in with some thought around something and that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's something that we can chum the waters with for them leading up to it. We're going to do Clarity 1 at the event. So I just wanted to see if anybody had any experience in getting your people like to a fever pitch before they come in, or at least, yeah, Mike.
So like all my clients run events, not this event, that's coming maybe middle summer, George, book it. But like they all run events. And the secret about why we run events is everything before and everything after the event. The event is important, but the event is an anchor for activity. This is the heart of a predictable referral system. So Tim, the most important part of this entire deal are the preliminary calls that you make to everyone that has committed to attend, thanking them. So you remember, can I borrow your car? Hey, I love referrals. How can I help you? Thank them for agreeing to come, reaffirm that it's on their schedule, ask them what most excited them or most compelled them to commit, reaffirm that, ask them if there's anything else going on in their business that they could use insight from other business owners on, tabulate it, replay it back to them and say, hey, if we accomplish that as well, would that make this investment time valuable? Great. Then tell them you're going to call them the day before. Is it on what day of the week is it? A Wednesday or something?
Wednesday.
Say, hey, I'm going to give you a call Tuesday morning, first thing, to remind you about it and make sure everything's fine. And then you have to do the same sequence right afterwards. A very short call within the first 24 hours, thanking them for coming, reaffirming what happened, and then another call a week later. Those are the most important parts of it. George is going to kill it at the presentation. I know some of the people in the room. It's going to be exciting. I know one person that guarantees it's going to be exciting, Adam. But so anyways, like, so you're going to have a great event, but everything is about those 2 sequences of calls before and after. That's what creates millions of dollars of revenue for my clients. Not me saying anything, Eric, but my clients actually doing the work, right? I mean, that's something you and I have commiserated about, how amazing successful we are when clients do shit.
I can only echo that very big. George and I did a project in Kentucky, and the person offloaded it to an individual, and the show up level was so disastrous. Let's say the target was 50 people that had said yes, and 25% realization was all that occurred, and you can't understand why it failed. And George and I both looked at each other and said, "Did you call them before? Did you tell them why it's going to be beneficial to be there? And then what's one of the things that they got challenged?" I'm just reechoing Michael's comment.
I just
If
feel
you
like I
have to
was
do
there,
that,
and
it's so critical.
I feel like I was there at that event and had the same experience.
Yeah, I know.
I was.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying we all looked at it and said, "Damn, this is dumb."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Well,
Thank you.
I think the event itself, to Mike's point and Ed's, is going to be an excellent event.
Yes.
What you're doing, if they're going to run Clarity One during the event, they're going to learn something about their business or a COI's, whether it's his or her business or one of their clients' business, they've never learned before. And that's going to, that in alone has a lot of value.
Yeah.
So I ran one of these in November for a networking group. And this Thursday morning, I hope that one of them will be a client by the end of Thursday from that one event. So one of the things I know you have a lot of people, hopefully will show, but within that subgroup, who do you know could be champions in the room that you can rely on for engagement? So I did that with a couple of people. I said, Norm, hey, we're running this. I know you well. I need you to be a part of the energy in the room. So I had a couple people that I could rely on going in that are going to ask good questions, show the energy, and elevate the room, not just the 3 of you, Tony and Tim. So that was something that I found I always find helpful. But it's all about follow up and set the expectation in the beginning of how this fit, how when we're done, we're going to follow up. You see me do that, Tim, with PACE meeting, right? You begin with the end in mind, so they know where this is all going, and they know that you're going to follow up with them to talk about their Clarity One results. There's a natural follow up with Clarity One.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very helpful.
Tim, I'd just add to my 2 esteemed colleagues, the one thing to do in the room is finish up with what George always finishes up with on this call, and what Tim and Larry, I'm assuming you always finish up with in your Alex Council meetings, and that is go around the room and reinforce what happened in the room by asking everybody what their biggest takeaway is from the day.
Yeah,
because that not only gets them to think about what they got out of it that time and reinforce it, it also often gives other people in the room, wow, you're right, that was a really good point. That reinforces all the good things that happened in the room.
And
And I just say, I for once, I completely agree with Mike on the before and after. But you can't do this activity in the before and after. The reinforcement that has to happen in the room is letting people hear what other people say. Right?
Sure.
That's a really powerful part of what you get out of the bringing everybody together.
And something that's part of the event that we'll do in the room, and Tim has seen it in the resources, is we have a survey. It's very short, and that survey has very carefully designed set of questions. By the way, Tim, for everyone here that ask for permission, that is generally, that is essentially always granted. And Ed and I have used this, or a riff on this in a lot of workshops we've run. And you guys, anyone who's been through one of our live events, you know that you're going to get a survey. Those surveys in the room get people thinking and focused and writing with a pen, and then we'll do key takeaways. And these events, not to put too much pressure on, but these events will produce. Period.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate all the input. I knew I was in the right place asking this question today. And what I'm going to do to reciprocate is I'm going to build a best practice document, or at least draft something that we can circulate, make part of the inventory, right? For how to run hopefully a successful marketing event.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So thank you all.
Thank you so much. We'll put it in the community. And Tim, I'm updating the deck. I will send that to you hopefully by the end of today.
Yeah, terrific. Thank you.
Yeah. It's analog, man, right? How important is analog? And everything that Mike just said was analog, person to person, right? I can tell you, looking at our sales success is going like this, and our marketing, it's not tanking, but the amount of clicking on outbound marketing is just, I think we're so inundated that is analog is the key to the game. And what Mike described, analog interaction. Tim, this is an analog event. I'm terrifically excited.
Yeah. Don't forget the platforms that allow you to spam, the technology that allows you to spam and do direct marketing is also going to design itself to mitigate that. Right. So
that's what's happening.
Yeah,
that's what's happening. And it's happening just, if you guys, anybody understand what's happening technologically, just from a 40,000 foot view, AI and people, right? But as technology gets better at at targeting and sending emails, and we all get it in our email inbox every morning, right? Even with unsubscribe and every filter, what's happening is at the ISP at the send grid level, before those messages ever make it out into the net, they're being extinguished. That's what's happening. That's what is happening. And we fix it every week. We have stopped saying, listen, you're going to get an email from the system. And I'd be happy to explain technologically why the ISPs, I'm talking about AT&T, the ISPs, the 5 ISPs are crushing this stuff before it's even makes it out into the internet. So
yeah, just make sure whatever marketing you're doing, that you ultimately measure its effectiveness by sales results, right?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, activity is really critically important because, it's a leading indicator, the right activity. But I see so many people that are just quietly desperate, and they don't realize that all of their marketing spend is just replicating their organic referral production. They're not really driving ideal client acquisition. And by the way, there's a lot of marketing out there, really good marketing that can get you ideal clients, and it is not free. And it's not something you can do, right?
Could I share? There's a story on Mike. I think I shared this with you guys. So I was invited down by the Exit Advisor Alliance to Florida last week. Terrific group. They're about to break through 100 members. Fantastic. And they sort of, it's a similar level of professional to the Growth Drive community. I was talking with one of their board members afterwards. We had a call afterwards, and he shared that in his mind, he has to talk with 100 CEOs to win one engagement. Wow. Keep that stat, right? That's 1%. And this is a guy who's been doing this. He's very successful. He's been doing this a very long time. So I don't know his exact process, but he thinks it's 100 to 1. Clarity has proven, and those of you, and you guys, show of hands if you're experiencing this, what we promise is that for every 5 Clarity level 1s that you complete with a qualified client, you're going to win one, whatever you want to be next, right? I'm not going to say it's one multi-year engagement, but you're going to win the next meeting, which is typically a paid meeting. 5 to 1. I will also tell you that the real number is 3. We just sandbag. We give you 2 mulligans, and then you have three at bats. So if you think about the profound statistical difference between having a conversation about something real, about the business, their hopes, dreams, aspirations, frustrations, all the great stuff that happens when this very condensed conversation. I don't mean for this to be an infomercial, but it's a profound delta, and we're going to keep working on it.
Hey,
it's
George.
never going to be 1-to-1, but
George, for those of us for those of us who are only getting paid, only delivering Clarity One as a paid service,
great.
Have we explored the idea of a pre-Clarity One survey within Clarity, right? A simplistic version of it that we could use for marketing so that we can use Clarity, which delivers a lot of value in and of itself, instead of using Clarity as the marketing option.
There's a short answer. Mike, go ahead. Mike, Joseph, please go ahead, guys. You don't want to hear from me. Thank you, Eric. Question.
Eric, this dovetails with what you said. So for those of us that are actually doing Clarity Level 1s and tracking them, like, are we, this is just a generic question, and I think we should all submit this data to George, right, on a regular basis, but like, what's your win rate on paid engagements? Even if you're charging like level 1, like I do, like I measure my success was not on that $1,000, but whether or not they engage with me on a larger step, to Eric's point. I would say that, like, what Eric was sharing, like my observation would be that whether or not that tool's valuable, Eric, is all dependent upon everyone's sales process, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So if that would fit into your sales process, the way that you do it, and it's in alignment and congruent, I think it'd be incredible. It's not something that personally I'm interested in, because I'm focused much more on exploratory triggering events that are in person. So,
Yeah.
but I see where you're coming from. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying people got to make sure it's in alignment.
Yeah, I get it. And I get it. The more we go backwards into the sales process, like, back, the less we can be generic about it. I get your point, Mike. And it's just, I think there could be some interesting things that you could do that would be around the Clarity environment that wouldn't necessarily give away, because again, I believe Clarity One has tremendous value.
Yeah, Larry agrees with you. I agree with you. Yeah.
Right.
I think
I don't charge $1,000 for it. I charge a lot more for Clarity One.
The value is not Clarity. The value is the conversation with the growth driver.
Yeah, of course it is. But
right. But that is my point. That is my point. Like, the more technology you apply to your sales process, the less you are tied to your delivery of value and judgment. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Joseph,
man.
Full
speed.
I did that. I was trying to figure out.
I thought I did something wrong.
Joseph, you're a big man.
There's a lot of Joseph. I know you guys know that I'm not a very opinionated person, but I think when it comes to this in particular,
you're not
I have a very strong opinion. No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, New Yorkers don't have a lot of opinions. Anyways, I think when it comes to this, Eric, I would absolutely not offer anything for free.
Yeah.
I think the statistics clearly say, I'm not even 10 to 1, could even 100 to 1. The people that are attracted when something is free are not people that convert or you want to be your clients.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The people that are really in the need, especially the type of clients that we're looking at, $1,000, $2,000. I mean, that's a drop in the bucket. You're running a business, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 million a year. $1,000 to solve your problem is, I mean, they shouldn't even be batting their eyes. That's the price of engagement with someone who might be able to actually solve your problem, as opposed to all the garbage that's out there for free on the internet. So
100%.
I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm like orders of magnitude.
And
you're wasting your time. I'll just add one thing. It's not even that. I'd say the most important problem with it is that the resources that you waste to follow up all the people that don't qualify, that's what kills your business.
Yeah.
That's really the bottom line. You're spending a lot of money supporting zero profitability.
100%. Joseph, thank you. Such a fantastic point. That's why we've pulled back our premium. We're like, you know what? I mean, I don't know what kind of a success Value Builder is getting with it. I only hear from dissatisfied customers of that platform. Good platform, great people. Warlow is a super smart and accomplished dude. I'm talking about the freemium, and another example of a freemium. Freemium, you're going to get 1 to 2% uptake from unqualified or non-qualified people. Your conversion rate is dismal. It's a waste of your time.
So I'm gonna go back to the previous comment that was brought up. I think people have to understand that this business is really has two components. There is the business, and then there's the execution. Now, what do I separate that? Business is about relationships. It's never going to be replaced by some tool or some AI or whatever. People work with people they like and trust. That's the end of the day. Now, when we talk about execution, yes, we can look at AI, we can look at all the different tools, and yes, it is accelerating at a frightening speed in its ability to help us execute the work that needs to be done with the client. At the end of the day, you've got to be in front of people. You have to be meeting, engaging with them, talking with them, developing that relationships. And then the reality is that the price becomes irrelevant because you're solving a major problem for them.
Absolutely agree, Joseph. And yes, you are insanely smart, and I'm so grateful to have you in this community. Why after 15 years did I write the integrated strategic capacity doctrine, right? Joseph, you just summed it up. This is we're in the people business.
Yeah.
And we get back to analog, but heck yes. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you,
Tim's
everyone.
been sitting in the corner facing the corner with his hand up.
Take off the dunce cap. You can come back out to class.
I love
just
yeah. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Is icing the kicker. So I like the theme of this conversation because I think it's something that Mike's been pulling for a long time, and it makes a lot of sense. To Eric's initial question, is there something upstream from Clarity that you can do? Because we didn't want to have our first shot be Clarity either. So we're testing this score app. I put this link to a scorecard in the chat. It's from an application called Score App. And what it does is it kind of bridges the gap between what Joseph's talking about, getting too many unqualified people. By the time they answer these questions, they've either qualified themselves or they haven't. So it's not just somebody responding to a social media post or something. You literally understand more about their context. They can take it as value and run with it. Or if you choose to follow up with them, you've got all this information, the answers to all these questions. You know what their biggest pains are. You know what their challenges are. So I haven't done it long enough to tell you that it's a money press or it's a dry hook, but it's just something that Eric, you might take a look at if you're
I will
to fish with, or a net to cast that gives you people that are a higher probability clients or prospects.
And although it doesn't get into it, Clarity Snapshot, right? Clarity Snapshot is the 24, 25 questions. Why are you here? Go. And that's it. And so that is another, but we're not getting into Tim. I've looked at your survey, and it's good. They're different animals.
It's a way to demonstrate value. I don't expect the cold traffic to feed us, but when we're doing, whether it's Substack posts or social media posts or things about how to make your business better, we throw this in once in a while, and look for people to hit on it, and that it's at least a nibble or something that we can pursue.
Great.
I like the whole. I mean, I believe 100% in the face-to-face contact. That's also has its limits. So depending on how many people we can get with.
And I want to hammer on this point. Why do Mike and George get along so well? Those of you who have been with whom I've had the good fortune to be associated for a long time, we've been talking about strategic COIs for ever, right? Strategic COIs, focusing on, that's what Mike describes, right? A qualified, a smaller qualified group of people where there is a reciprocal relationship, and what I'm now advocating for is a more integrated relationship, that we evolve beyond collaboration, and I changed, there is a slide we all see that has the business owner in the middle and all of these satellites around, the investment banker, the business advisor, the fractional CFO, et cetera, with these arrows pointing. It's like that's how it feels to be a business owner. Like you're standing in the middle of the Kessel ring and all of the hunters are shooting towards you. We need to get into an integrated, organized, planned, collaborative program for the CEO. So Mike, fire away, man.
So Joseph, that was expletive awesome. But generally that would be my 100% experience with you. So you move to Virginia, you don't need to be in New York. Just move to Virginia, Roanoke.
Roanoke wants you, baby.
We have one restaurant, no bagels, but hey, so the point being is, like,
you're not from Texas, but Texas loves you anyway.
It's great, baby. So here's the reality. We are an analog business that does technical work, right? To Joseph's point. And like, what I hate about most of what I see outside of Growth Drive, and way too often within Growth Drive, is polluting an analog sales process with technological, inhumane things that don't really work, right? So like, we have to understand what the F we're selling, and we're selling ourselves. And you can lie to yourself about how all your freaking technology and all your digital marketing bullshit is actually helping you. But if that was true, somebody would have written a white paper about how they're killing it within the community, and nobody is, right? So here's the deal. Go analog, because that's what you're delivering. Tie your ROI, tie your sales experience for your clients, tie your freaking courage to what you actually do.
I want to throw something out there. I hesitate a little bit to talk about it, but I will share with it because I think it's important for everybody here to really understand the scope of the opportunity. I've been working with someone for a few months, someone who has an e-commerce business, just not typically my space, but an e-commerce business. I was doing about $35 million a year, and it's been losing money left, right, and center. And he has another business, which he basically hit the profit in one business, supporting the losses in the other business. And he really needed some help. And over a few months, develop a relationship and explain to him that, these challenges are typical for all different businesses. He's not unique. He's not alone. Anyways, to make a long story short, I don't like the term, but let's call it consulting for equity. All right. And what we did was, his biggest challenge was that he was really missing a proper built leadership team. So when you're talking about, all these satellite people involved, so I offered him was, look, we'll come in, we'll do the analysis, we'll figure out exactly what's wrong. We'll put a deal team together to be able to solve your problems. And we're not actually going to charge you upfront anything in cash, but we're going to take equity in the business. Make a long story short, we actually negotiated 50% equity stake in his business. It's all phantom equity, 50% on this business doing $35 million a year right now. And actually, within a couple of weeks, we were able to turn around to make it at break even. So I'm just saying, from that context, I'm just saying a lot of the discussion on this platform is, should I charge 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000? You figure out the numbers. If the EBITDA on that company goes back to where it needs to be, somewhere in the 10 to 20% margin range, you can imagine that the advisors that are involved, the 3 or 4 of us that are involved, are going to make bank on the opportunity, and we expect that. So the cost to the owner wasn't, obviously he hesitated. It's not a small chunk of money, but the bottom line is that when you're offering real solutions to clients that need help, they'll take it. And don't fret on the price. Spend most of your time focusing on developing the relationships. That's key. They've got to come to a point where they can trust you to be able to bring you in.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Also, what you're
I want to go back
Also-
and clarify though. My question was not only, yes, I would love to have something that gives me trickles of people coming in. What I'd really like to do is stop. I really don't want to compete with people who are giving away things and I'm charging for it. And-
I would actually, I don't know. I'm not trying to be contrarian. Eric, I think your point's a really, really good one. You are not, by saying, well, if they are giving it to you, you can, think about that. I charge 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, whatever the number is.
Yeah.
Because, and I get it.
Yeah.
You need to ask yourself why.
Yep.
And that's not how I would say it. That is not sales speak, but that is the intent of the conversation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And George, believe me, I do that every day. My point is, and I'll use an analogy because I really like analogies. I had lunch last week with a guy who runs the MEP for Wisconsin.
Yay.
Right. And I said, you're a great guy. You're really smart. You got a Harvard MBA. Love all that. Why am I competing as an entity that has to fund through totally through my sales with a guy like you who gets half of his funding from the federal government? Why am I competing with you on that? And his point was, look, Eric, we're helping more people, smaller people. A lot of manufacturers don't have, aren't that big and they need help and they can't afford anything. And I said, yeah, but from my standpoint, I'd rather see that be a voucher. If we're going to give out the money, let's give out the money and let them spend it wherever they want to spend it, where they're going to get the most value, not by government picking who the winner or the loser is. Try not to get too political here. I'm not. That's not my point. My point is, when you have people who are giving things away, you're right. A certain amount of people will go there, and might not be the right people, but a certain amount of people will go, "Wow, I see the same thing. I can get it over here for free, or I can get it over here where it costs something." And they'll go, I'm going to go for the free one. Right. And now you got to make an argument of why the free one isn't a good thing. And you got to fight that battle.
So if you're fighting that battle, you're interacting with the prospect way too low on your sales process, right? So the number one secret is being able to own the top of your funnel, to identify before you reach out who your ideal prospects are, and then to tailor relationship driven steps. Now, to one of the points that you made that I within the context of what I'm saying, Eric, that I think is really powerful is you have got to anticipate how the depth of information as being valuable, which is why I hate when we productize clarity as the deliverable, because it's just fucking information. Like, I'm on the board. I love clarity, but like I'm telling you, people, if you want to own the top of your funnel, you got to stop trying to compete based on information, and you have to start competing on judgment and trust. And I know everyone. I mean, to some more and some less. Like I know everyone on this call. You are a person that brings analog judgment and appropriate use of trust. And that is your greatest power now. And 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it will be even more relevant. Joseph, your point about equity finally had me confront how much of a pussy I am.
Your word, not ours.
Right? Because the secret is this, is like, I am getting back into the game locally doing some consulting because I have a really good friend who's really good at executing on stuff. Right. So I only partner when I'm actually confident that they'll fix all the mistakes I make. Thank you, Eric. Right. And so the point being is, how do I make it worth it in my local market, which is not New York? How do I make it worth it? Because I can't really charge the type of retainer, but there is a shit ton of business in my area that if I help them with my background, we could double enterprise value. Larry, this reminds me, Tim, this reminds me of that conversation on the world's shittiest dinner cruise boat ever in St. Pete, right?
I would,
don't
Mike,
think.
I just, yeah, go ahead.
No, Joseph, you go. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna say that I don't, first of all, to your point about information, there's so much information out there. There, the owners don't value that anymore. Quite frankly, it's free. They know it's out there. The reality is the biggest challenge for all the companies that I've come across at the end of the day isn't knowledge. Quite frankly, 'cause that's easily solved. It's execution.
Yes.
Right. And what I keep telling everyone is the more you talk about being a consultant and an advisor, they don't want to deal with you. You know why? Because you have great information and great knowledge, but it doesn't lead to any execution. In fact, when we speak to everybody, we tell them, that we partner with business owners who feel stretched thin, and and then the automatic question is, how do you do that? Right. So we talk about sometimes it comes with capital, sometimes we put in a management team together to be able to solve and actually fix the problem. And to the extent that the owner really wants, he can step away from day-to-day management of the business and do what and focus on what he wants to. So I think that's kind of the direction that we in particular go to. So not information, not consulting, not advisory. You're really there to partner with them. They want to feel that you have some skin in the game. So that again comes back to relationships, right? They've got to be able to trust you.
Well,
And
that's what I was going to say, Joseph. The commonality of everything we've talked about is relationships, is our ability to engender trust quickly. And like you used the words earlier, like you, trust you, right? And to be able to do that. We don't want tools to get in the way of doing that or to substitute for doing that, but to add to it in the right time. So that's the only comment I was going to make before is in bottom line is it's always about us building a relationship of trust that opens the door for more opportunity or the initial opportunity even. Something Mike and I talked about last week, and I know you're big on this, Mike, is getting wins early with a client. For them to see, to your point earlier, Joseph, about their behaviors, they don't have a lot of tolerance, and George, all the arrows coming in, to wait a long period of time. And what you said, Joseph, is I don't know how the time frame was, but quickly we got them to break even. Quickly to break even. So, Mike, you could add to this the ability for us to bring value. And Mike, what you said last week in our call is important. Even doing Clarity One in itself has the ability not just to generate data and knowledge, which is not the point, but to generate an opportunity to get your client to think differently about their business, to be awakened to something they weren't, to pinpoint the root cause of an emotion they've been carrying. And that is a win in itself. So how do we even use Clarity One to create a win in that process?
So real quick, Clarity One is just a really elegant expression of this. And I played a small part in some of the ways that it's used. The financial thing, George listened to me rant and then actually did something better than what I was asking for. Thank you, George. He sent me all this shit. And I'm like, that's brilliant. Just do that. But so here's the deal. You ready? Can you bring immediate ROI in an initial meeting with a business owner or not? If you can't, sell, retire, go do something else, right? Buy a trades company. So when I do a level one clarity, or even just freaking sit down for coffee with a business owner, I have one goal to decide, because this is who I am, if I like them enough to actually help or not. B, if I do want to help them, what I'm doing now is I will create immediate ROI. So let me give you an example. And remember, ROI is not always you get them $1 million next month. ROI is return on investment of their time. And I'm going to give you the easiest one because all of you deserve it. Okay. All of you deserve it. And you have clarity. So I sat down with a prospect I've never met before, a referral from EPI, right? Who's a very successful financial advisor in North Dakota. Great guy. He may end up being part of our community. So be nice and don't say, oh yeah, Garrison talked about you. So I sat with him and he was really interested in what I've done with an EPI, the success, all these things. And I said, hey man, I like you. Could we transition to a more direct sales conversation? And he said, well, yeah. I said, I want to show you specifically how the software I use and the methodology, my sales methodology, not clarity, my sales methodology, how I create immediate ROI with business owners. Are you interested? He goes, yes. I said, great. How much disability insurance do you have?
Yeah, that's a great story.
And he went, what? I go, like, if it's too invasive, you can say no, right? He goes, no, I have 20,000 a month benefit. I said, okay. How much, what is your monthly income? And he went, damn. I go, what? You don't have to answer. He goes, 160,000. I go, you actually possess $160,000 worth of disability insurance. 20,000 of it is held in a product that other people are underwriting and are owning the financial risk for it. 140,000 a month is held by you. Can I ask you 2 more questions? He said, okay. You can tell he's in the conversation now, which is the whole goal. Have them be present. I said, you've been in business a while. Is the reason for that huge gap, right? Is the reason for that huge gap because you're independently wealthy and you don't have to worry about disability insurance? And he went, no. I said, okay, I just created immediate return on investment for you for this call. I've exposed a massive gap. I said, by the way, you're a certified financial planner, aren't you? He goes, yeah. I said, in your financial plan, your written financial plan, do you have a separate area of that financial plan dedicated to driving the monthly income necessary if you're disabled, since you're underwriting 140,000 a month? And he said, no. I said, how do you feel? He goes, I feel good and bad. He goes, I feel really bad as a financial advisor, but he said, I feel really good for the first time as a SEPA because I understand what you're saying now about having direct conversations about real numbers and not selling shit that takes 3 years to happen. Create momentum in your process, whatever your process is, but immediate ROI is that 140,000 a month. What's that worth? Right? Is it direct bottom line? No. If he gets disabled and he's made changes as a result of that, what's happened? So that's what I'm talking about. Push yourself when you're going through discovery with these clients to create immediate ROI. And then, and the other thing is I called it out.
Well, and
Called it out.
Mike, you're that behavior is so healthy because you're saying, okay, that's great. So if we're talking about business, let's talk about business value, right? It's an easy example. Oh, it needs to be worth 20 million. Great. What happens if it's not? And that's part of our process. Mike, that is a great story. And heed these good words, my friend.
De-risking and decentralizing is not just the owner and the business. It's the portfolio, the financial parts. It's de-risking and decentralizing is in every single thing we do.
Awesome. And on that note, with which I agree, guys, let's do a few key takeaways. I asked over in chat and I got at least one enthusiastic answer. Two answers. I confused Paul. I'm sorry, Paul. Larry thought it was a contract execution. KTAs, key takeaways. So anybody care to volunteer? We have 6 minutes. Rick Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, please.
What I just wrote down was my takeaway is to generate a relationship of trust such that the execution of the strategy will generate an immediate ROI.
Heck yes. Love that. Thank you, Rick.
That's great, Rick. Thanks.
Who are you going to toss it to?
Who's
Rick,
next?
I'll go.
Okay, that made it easy.
I think this I think this circles back to a conversation of 2 or 3 weeks ago where Mike came and said, "Hey guys, we need to be selling results, not other stuff." I'm paraphrasing. And I commented that we need to be able to demonstrate the process that gets the results. And I think my key takeaway is this circled right back to that. We talked about we're selling value. The value is the result. Joseph said it, Mike said it, several of us said it. But we also need to be able to demonstrate to the person that we're talking to that we have the ability to get them there. That's the trust and a repeatable process that gets us there. So that's my takeaway.
Hell yeah, Paul. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Paul, you're muted.
You're muted, Paul.
If we could only do that to Mike.
Yeah. It's just like we're
Oh,
people
I
in
can.
school with sending notes back and forth now with chats.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
That was excellent, Eric. Thank you. Who are you going to toss it to, man?
Kurt, our newbie.
Oh. Welcome, Kurt.
Touch.
By the way, Jemiah is in the background eavesdropping. I sent him a text. I'm like, I miss you, man. He's here. He just can't have his camera on. Kurt, go ahead.
I'm here, guys.
There you go. Thanks.
I had two great takeaways. One, I think I found my people. I will see you guys every Tuesday going forward. This is a terrific conversation, so thank you.
Awesome.
I think the conversation around Tim's brainstorming about chum in the water and then Mike's approach to how to get that fired up was a great learning point for me.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Kurt. We have time for a couple more. Kurt, who are you going to pass it to?
Let's go to Edward.
Let's see here. I know that the pre-questions are very critical. I don't happen to like the formality of a written question. I like the interpersonal aspect of the questions. So I would probably not use the printed page. Instead, I would do ask the questions and an informal conversation with them to start and set up the opportunity to go through the structure of going through Clarity 1.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Ed. Ed, who are you going to toss it to? We have Joseph has dropped. Jemiah is on the line.
How about
here.
Rick? Has
Paul.
Rick had a chance to contribute?
Rick did. Yep.
Yeah, I got something I can quick.
Joe, man, fire away.
So along those lines, Ed, is
Thank
we've
you,
been
Ed.
talking about having this conversation with an owner, very casual. We've done the clarity question, and I believe it's kind of clunky because of the forced, the owner versus more of a conversation. I'd be using Applaud. It's a backed up with a software package where you can introduce a template. So I've gotten Claude to write a template for Growth Drive to be backed into my Claude as a way to kind of you're going to get through all the subject matter, and just that ultimately it makes for a natural conversation. I just wear it on my wrist, and I tell the owner, I'm gonna take a few notes and go from there. So it's a great value, and it makes that conversation, like Ed's talking, much more casual. But you ultimately you have to get through all the information. You'll get there.
100%. And I carry one everywhere, Joe. We have the an API to Plod. That we were so far ahead that like they hadn't quite finished their API, or you'd already have it, and that's going to be loaded into Clarity, assigned by client, and accessible by Claire. Stay tuned. Tim, last man standing.
I had nothing but takeaways today. I really appreciate all your feedback on the pre and post marketing event process, the tips and directions on the assessment for influence, and then I love the conversation about delivering ROI early. So all shebang. Great call. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank
Tim,
you. And
Tim,
I'm
you're
sorry.
in LX Council, and they've got an excellent set of documents inside there on running a marketing event.
Got it. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, guys, 10:30. Thank you, Paul. This was a great discussion. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week. Anything I can do to help during this week, fire away. Okay? Please let me know. You know how to reach me. All right.
Take care, all.
Thanks. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye.